It's
April,
usually spring
May.
cleaning, right? Usually
Yeah,
spring
yeah.
cleaning.
Hell yeah. So, but Braun Strowman, man, that got me there, man. I was like, what?
Didn't expect. I didn't see that coming either. But
I didn't see that one coming at all, man. I
yeah,
was like, yo, Braun Strowman. I was like, what? You know what I mean? I thought, I could see Buddy Murphy and I can see Lana. I can see Lana. I can see
yeah,
her going,
yeah, for sure, for sure. They
But
they they're
fucking
they're gonna have new jobs easily for sure.
yeah, exactly. I just saw where what's his name? The Spanish dude, Estrada, whatever his name is. He just
Andrade
went
is all right.
Andrade, whatever you call his name
Yes.
is. Yeah, he just went to
AEW.
AEW. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
so but they're
Saw
gonna be
that.
like, but my fear with AEW is they're gonna be like WCW. Too many people. You only have. We're going live right now.
All right. Yeah.
So
I think we're live. I see it on your page right now.
yeah, let me see. Okay, let me just put it down.
People
Let me
have
click.
been seeing this already.
Let me that's me. That's us right there. All right, cool. That's awesome. I know. Right? So it's all good. It's all fucking good. So anyway, welcome everyone to another episode of Chili Willy Podcast. Tonight I have my man, the one, the only, Ro Moran. I have Mr. SADATA. Hold on. Let me cut this down because I'm echoing myself. There we go. So are we good now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Ro,
yeah, I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, yes. Hello, thank you for that introduction.
How
Always
about now?
glad to
Can you
talk
hear
with
me?
you, my
Hold on.
friend. It's been a while. We had you on the podcast late last year, and that was no,
Hold
that was
on.
really a long time ago. In pandemic time, you know. Yeah, you hear me? I'm I'm coming across just fine.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure. I think I'm a little jacked up here.
All right, no problem. Let me just
Ro, can
fix
you
my.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me? I am hearing you.
Yeah, but something I'm hearing echo for some reason. And it's coming in late, so wait.
Just want to say hey to Robin Sane and Canto Terror uh, on the comments section. If they can hear me.
Okay. What about now? Can you still hear me, Ro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. We're good now. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
What I had something going on wrong and all that good shit. You know how it is when I'm doing this podcast. I've been doing it now for a couple of months and I'm still jacked up. So anyway, that's the part of being old.
Not that old. You're still looking pretty spry and
old,
young.
old, but old when it comes to doing this technology stuff. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to get it down pat. You know what I mean? And I'm not
Yeah.
like you guys over there. You know, so
He's
I'm
gonna
just
catch up
trying
with us eventually.
exactly. You know what I mean? So hold on, let me just make sure I'm recording everything. And all right, so
All right.
now it's being recorded. So yes, I see some people on. I see Robin saying Ace Victor. I see my god sister here,
Hey. Hello.
Rochelle. So, but anyway, Ro, man, hey, it's been like you said, man. It's been a long time since we've been on together. I had Stan on maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
so that was a good conversation and everything. So I said, man, I got to get Ro on, man, and see what Ro is up to, and talk to him about SADATA. You know what I mean? Just
I
like
got
you're
lots to
talking to
say
me about
about that.
Blackzilla. we not kayfabing, brother. We not kayfabing at
Yeah,
all.
I'd rather not. I would really rather not.
I tell people, they say, where's Blackzilla? You looking at him?
People still, I think a few people asked me who Blackzilla was when they first
Really?
saw him. Yeah, because they didn't really know, or they didn't really know who you were, but we all knew
That's awesome.
in the local industry. We all knew because there was only one big black guy who was around. and wearing a mask. And the other big black guy, the machine, isn't wearing a mask, so we know it's
No,
him.
no doubt, definitely. You know what I mean. So that's good shit. But yeah, let's get into it, man. So how long you been doing wrestling, man? I know you are a writer, as you have just told everyone and told me. And for those of you who just tuned in, Ro, he is. I call him Ro. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Some of you guys call him, Roman. So I call him Ro. So uh, how long you been doing the pro wrestling, bro?
Okay. I started training in 2014. So I saw PWR's first show, and I wanted to train earlier than that, but they weren't opening their boot camps program just yet. So they told me
Mhm.
I got to wait for the boot camp. And after the first show, they opened it up, and then that's when I started. I jumped at the chance to start training right there and then. But
Mhm.
looking back, I kind of wish that I waited a little more,
Okay.
because even though I did get to learn some of the foundations of wrestling, I feel like this is not a knock on anyone. It's just a matter of not having enough experience for everyone involved, and it's no one's fault. It's no one's fault.
Mhm.
But if I had started training like a little later in my career, even though I would have been older, I would have gotten a much better education, if you will. So I've been doing this since I debuted in February of 2015. So
Mhm.
that makes it 6 years now.
Okay.
We lost 1 year because of the pandemic,
Right.
and in the business terms, 6 years isn't that long.
Right.
You know this.
Right.
You think it's long here because we never had wrestling before, but to me and to a lot of people, that's still gonna be like you're green, you're a rookie, and I totally accept that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm. So when you started, it was just you went straight doing your gimmick under the mask, or you were you doing like not under the mask or anything like that?
When I debuted, they had us pick a character. They
Okay.
had us choose what we wanted to be, and I decided that, or I kind of had my heart set on being a masked wrestler, luchador, if you will,
Okay.
because lucha libre is fun to watch.
Mhm.
I might have wanted to try, or I thought I could do that and all of that stuff. And I kind of also wanted to be a superhero type of character. I don't know if you know this, but Sandata in Tagalog means weapon. So I
No, I didn't. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
That was a name. That was like a superhero name,
Sandata.
and I've been doing that ever since. And again, looking back, I kind of wish that I had the balls to not wrestle in a mask, under a mask, because I was also kind of doing it to hide from people, because I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to broadcast it out there that I was
Okay.
a pro wrestler, especially
Uh-huh.
a pro wrestler starting out. Like, I felt like I was kind of ashamed of myself. That's like a recurring
Really?
theme. Yeah, it's like a
Oh.
recurring theme in my entire life, that I'm kind of conscious about who I am. But yes, going back to answer the question, yes, I was uh Sandata the Masked Wrestler ever since
Mhm.
I debuted, even though we
Mhm.
never knew exactly what that was right away. We just try to figure it out as we go along.
Right, right, right. So I mean, you said you were you were like ashamed. Were you? Was it like from your work, from your parents, or I mean, just you, your inner self? You were just like, I don't know if I really want, if I can really do this or anything like that. I mean, what were you really ashamed of? I mean, because man, when I see you out there working, man, it's like you going balls to the wall. You know what I mean?
Thank you, thank you. No, but you're right. I did kind of want to hide it from my family, because I didn't want them to know, and because if they knew, they would worry about it and get up all in my business. And I didn't want
Okay.
that energy. I don't really want that energy, but I eventually told them,
Hmm.
like, especially when I had to go abroad to wrestle in another country. There was no choice but to tell them.
Okay.
But yes, I also didn't want people at work to know. I didn't want to get asked about it at work. um, I didn't want to be known as the wrestling guy, even though that is my personality. That is what people know me as the wrestling fan. It's kind of weird that I it's also something I regret, that I wish I had the courage
Mm,
to face it straight on and own it the way I'm owning it
okay.
now, much
Okay. I was getting ready to
later.
say. Yeah, I was getting ready to say now. So now it's okay. I mean, people know what you do and
Yeah.
everything at work and your parents. And how do they accept it now? I mean, how do they accept you as doing it?
My family's kind of okay with it, I guess.
Depending on what day it is, right?
Yeah, depending on what day it is. Obviously, they don't like me getting hurt because it's there. I'm a
Right.
loved one. What we do hurts, and there is a risk for injury, no matter how safe we're trying to do it. And I've
Mhm.
seen this with some of my friends, right? Like, even though they weren't really trying to get injured out there, they still got injured, and
Right.
that is the risk that we live with. The entire time. So I'm totally understanding that perspective. I just didn't want it to be bugging me as I tried to do what I wanted to do. Now they're accepting of it. I guess it's all good right now that we're not doing it because of the pandemic. My friends were
Hmm.
cool with it. They were totally um, amazed at what we did or what I do. My office mates, my
Hmm.
coworkers were totally uh, awestruck by the fact that,
Really?
oh, their office mate, their colleague is a professional wrestler like they see on TV, and that's something totally cool.
Right.
And I wish I knew that, or I wish I accepted that people would find and appreciate that earlier in my career and in my
Right.
life.
Right. Well,
That
you
would have
still. I
helped.
mean,
Yeah.
it's
Sorry.
still
Go ahead.
early. I mean, go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. It's still early. You know.
Yeah. That's true. But I'm also not that young anymore. Right.
Mm.
I just turned 31 the other day. Uh,
Oh, okay. You're still young.
Yeah, but I'm not as young as other people. Like
Right.
31 is getting in your prime age in big
Hmm.
companies like the WWE. You know
Yes.
that. I'm
Yes.
sure you're
Yes.
aware, fully aware of the age range over
Yes.
there. And the more we stay locked down here, the more we
Hmm.
grow older, and the more we lose some of those opportunities, and
Right.
we don't know when we're gonna get them back.
Right. Right. Well, that's the thing about being in a different country. I mean, you don't have to go the Philippine wrestling scene, and you guys don't have to follow the WWE standard of okay, just say you're 27. You know what I mean? That's what they said. That's the thing.
That's something they
Everyone.
made you do.
Yeah, well, you pretty much. I mean, just say you're 27. You know what I mean? Not WWE itself said that, but just in America, that's the norm. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Things that may have changed now, but when I was coming along, just say you're 27. So anyway, what you guys can make your own shot here. You can call your own age. You know what I mean? You can do whatever. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily follow that. If your body's feeling good, your mindset feeling good, keep going. You know what I mean? Don't look at it as saying, well, I'm 30 something or 40 something. I can't do it. You know what I mean? As long as your body can handle the bumps, handle the agility of what's going on, your mindset, and you can call the match and you can flow with it. Shit, man, keep going. You know what I mean? Don't let that shit stop you.
Yeah, you're right,
So
totally right. Because you
yeah,
got
don't.
guys in the WWE right now, they're not young. Their push came
No.
too late, and they're still doing it, and because they're still in great shape. So yeah, I'm also kind of
Yeah.
banking on the fact that I got time, to
Hmm.
get back in shape, stay in shape, because we got so much more time than we think.
Yeah,
That
because
yeah.
also the young wrestlers that's coming along. I mean, yeah, they have the youth, but they may not have that mindset. You know what I mean? And the experience that you are having now. And so I think it's good. Definitely think it's good. But speaking of going to the mask, man, uh, who were some of your favorite mask wrestlers? Because for me, it was the masked superstar. You know what I mean? He was my favorite. Bill Eadie, and I wound up wrestling him a couple of times. Later on in his career and early in my career.
Hmm.
And so that was like, oh man, that was the ultimate. I was marking out, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, when I was growing up, he was like my favorite mask superstar. So I always said I want to try to get into a mask, one day in my life. I want to just do a mask, gimmick. Who was some of yours?
When I was growing up, of course, I was watching Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was still in his prime, not quite as it was in WCW, but it was in WWE where he became the World Heavyweight Champion. So that's pretty cool. I always liked watching his lucha libre style. That wasn't all the way Mexican lucha libre. It was kind of tempered WWE style, and Ultimo Dragon was also there in WWE when I first started really getting into wrestling, and then as we grew along, there were guys like Tiger Mask,
Yes,
a lot
yes,
of the
I
Tiger
remember him.
Masks,
Awesome.
um, pretty much those guys. I wanted to do what they were doing, and I tried to do what they were doing, even though I didn't necessarily succeed a lot of the time. I don't know if we can count Eddie Guerrero as a masked wrestler because he became Black Tiger at one point.
Mm,
So I want to count
mhm,
him as a masked wrestler as one of my inspirations as well.
mhm. Okay. I got Shane Robson. Sin Parker said, "What's your advice to aspiring wrestlers who wants to wear a mask in the ring?"
Okay, great question from Robin Sane over there. My advice to aspiring wrestlers is to uh, build up or hone and sharpen their body language because that is what's going to get you far. Especially if your mask does not have like eye or visible eye holes or
Yeah,
visible mouths that
like mine.
you can't yes.
Woo!
But you got a presence though. I mean, your Black
Oh,
Zilla mask. We didn't see nothing, but you got a presence.
yeah, but that's you can't hardly breathe in that joint, man. I'm like,
But
I can't
yeah,
hardly see or
if
breathe.
if people can't emote, like if people can't see you emote through the mask, then you got to turn up the body language, and it's something
Mhm,
I had to learn from a friend of mine who also wrestled under a mask, and he did it much better than I did, I believe,
mhm,
because he was way more animated. Sorry, he was way more lively, and I was not as good, I think, as I was really early on. I've only figured it out much later.
okay. You're okay. Being in a mask, also. I mean, are you Sendata? Is it a heel gimmick, face gimmick, or in between?
When we first started, it was kind of a heel gimmick because we weren't really given as much what do you call this? We weren't really given as much attention in the booking. So we were brought. I debuted. I was brought into job to a team that was in essence much more over than we
Okay.
were, and because they had a character, they had
When you
a
say we,
gimmick.
who's we? Who's we? I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I debuted with my former tag team partner. His name is Peter Versosa. You know him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
We
know Peter.
we
What up,
debuted
Pete?
we debuted as Dual Shock because we kind of were the gimmick, or we kind of were the team that creative did not have ideas for. So we were thrown together. We were fed to much more over tag teams at the time, and in that in that setup, in that scenario, we were heels, and then eventually I became a face
Hmm.
um, for much of my career, and then after a while, like after 4 or 3 years, something like that, I joined up with Stan
Okay.
as Mr. C, and then I joined MSG, the group, and then we turned heel. And
Okay.
before the pandemic hit, we were pretty much heels, and I was pretty much living it up as a heel.
Okay. All right. That's good. Good shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. When I was I remember when I did my intro there at the PWR against what's his name? John. What's the guy name from Canada? Uh,
Billy Swade.
Billy Sway. I want to say Johnny Swinger, but Billy Sway. Billy Sway. Yeah, I mean, going back to not being able to breathe and being young and being older. That's the thing about as you get older. And then you get back, try to get back into wrestling. Your mind says, "Okay, I can do this," but your body says, "Hell no." So, so when I got in there and I put the mask on, it was the first time that I went in a mask under that gimmick, and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, "Okay, what's this?" And when the music hit, I was blowing up, bro. Just hitting the gorilla position. When I walked out, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't breathe." I was like, "Oh my god, here we go." And so when we went in there, the match was two arm drags, and hip toss or whatever. And I went one arm drag, and then the second arm drag, man, I don't know what happened in my groin, but
Yeah, you're growing.
something popped, and I said, "Oh no, here we go." And so yeah, that can, like you said, if you don't have a good mask that way you can breathe, because that's part of it. Not only just being physical and being in shape, and, ring rust and all that stuff, but if you don't have a mask where you can actually breathe and get that air, and you can really hurt yourself. You know what I mean? And it's not fun. You know what I mean? Being in a mask and going even 5 minutes, a 5 minute match is
My,
crazy.
my first mask ever was made by my ex girlfriend, and it was a full face mask.
Hmm.
Like my mouth was covered, my nose was covered. You could only see my eyes, and people were worried about whether or not I could breathe through that thing.
Right, right.
I remember this one match I had early on. This lady from the crowd shouted from up top. She shouted, "Take off your mask so you can breathe." But I was okay. I was really breathing through because the fabric was breathable.
Right.
I guess I'm not sure though if opening up my nose and mouth would have made me breathe better, but I was just fine. But
Mhm,
I totally get you. That thing is not easy.
mhm.
Actually, it's so not easy to the point that by the time 2020 rolled around, I was so ready to get rid of the mask and
Mm,
just go as an unmasked wrestler and
really?
finally show my face to the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then sometimes it can turn around. It can turn on you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like so,
Yes.
so if you get hit, it's like, oh, you turn, you
Yes.
can't see shit. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, what the hell? But I got a couple of people also just chimed in. I got my friend Sel here in Pampanga. She's watching. I got Shelly McLean out in Canada, Nova Scotia.
Hey,
No doubt. Check it out. Nova Scotia in the house.
Nova
Yeah,
Scotia.
but yeah. So wrestling as a matchmaker. So in PWR, because that's where you came from, and then I saw you uh, kind of work with other promotions like MWF or whatever.
Yes.
Um, how was that? Working like you in PWR, you were like a heel, and then you go to the other company and you were face, or you a heel, or what?
Uh when
Depends on what
I
they.
when I was hired by MWF the first time, I was working as a face in PWR. So when they
Mhm.
got me, I was already a face, and they still wanted me as a face because they wanted me to go up against Rex Lawin, who
Big
was working
Rex.
as a yes Rex, who was working as a heel at the time. So it was a good match. It was a good match for all involved, and I was flattered that they wanted to work with me. Tarek wanted to work with me. He really wanted to bring me in and see if they could do something with my character, and I
Mhm.
was really appreciative of that opportunity. And then the
Mhm.
second time they got me, which was in December of 2018,
I
I
remember
was
that.
already a heel, and then I would go up against Kyle Season,
Mhm.
who was a heel at the time. So they got me.
Mm.
I was a heel in PWR, and then I would become a face again in MWF, and then that kind of caused a problem with the people running PWR at the time because I
Okay.
didn't tell them. I assumed that Tarek would have told them because I
Oh,
assumed that
okay.
they talked. I thought
Okay.
that it wouldn't be my concern, but
Right.
I was wrong.
Mhm.
Uh, I apparently was supposed to have told them, and because I didn't tell them, the kind of it did not line up with the plans that were for me in PWR. So I was a heel, I was a face again in MWF. Then I put over Kyle Season in MWF, which is not really something I'm against, but I think they wanted to push me at the time,
Mhm.
so they didn't really want to have me taking unnecessary losses elsewhere, in
Mhm.
especially in the Philippines. So that was
Mhm.
kind of a mess, but we all got over it. I'm really appreciative of the opportunities that MWF gave me.
Okay, that's good. I'm having unstable connection
All
here.
right.
I hope you can hear me. But
Yeah.
anyway, so you're not the only mask guy that was in PWR. Who are some of the other guys in or girls or whatever uh, that were like under the mask?
Our main, the other main mask guy was the Apocalypse, big dude. Didn't work. Wanted to wrestle more like Kane than a luchador.
Okay.
Then we also had a bunch of other mask guys, entire stable of them called the
Mhm.
Trabajadores, which is
Mhm.
jobbers in English.
How you said it? Hold on. How you said it again? So my
uh,
American viewers can the Canadian viewers can understand this again.
Trabajadores. So from
Trabajadores.
the root word trabajo in Spanish
Trabajo.
means
Yes.
job or work,
Right. Right.
and then trabajador is a
Trabajador.
worker, you know,
Okay.
worker. And then
Wow.
in plural form, it's trabajadores. So
Okay. Trabajadores.
there are a bunch of workers, and synonymous to jobbers, and
Okay.
their job was to lose a lot. And then
Okay.
the best of them was Trabajador Cuatro, which is the number four,
Mhm.
who eventually unmasked and became Cuatro, who is a
Mhm.
big star right now.
Yes, he is
So
very.
we were mostly the mask guys. I was mainly the lucha guy, or I tried my best to be the lucha guy until Cuatro came along and did it way better than I did. Yeah, no, it's true. I don't,
It's all
no
good.
hate, no hate.
It's all
He really
good.
did it. He really did much better than I did, and
Hmm.
I appreciate that because I've always wanted to just move forward and build on what we originally started in PWR.
Hmm. Explain to the viewers, some of them who don't know what lucha means. Like when you say lucha, you said that he did it better. What are you saying? Are you saying he did more of a more aerial maneuvers?
Yeah,
Could you explain that?
yeah. So for those who don't know Lucha Libre, it's really a flashier style, a more acrobatic aerial style of wrestling originating from Mexico. And
Hmm.
I tried to do that, but admittedly, I was not as athletic as I would have wanted to pull off the things we see from guys like Rey Mysterio,
Right.
Ultimo Dragon, guys like those on TV. And
Yes.
Cuatro came in and did it way better than I did, because I say that because he was more athletic, he was more
Yes.
aerial, he had
Mhm.
more stamina, he had more endurance, and he just really pulled it off much better than I did, because he was much better at it. Period.
Mhm. Right. 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 Now, does that going getting back into pro wrestling after the pandemic, and by you just saying that in your mindset, would you go when you go back? Are you still trying to uh, do more of that, or are you just going to have your own style and say, okay, I know I'm not proficient in this area here, so I'm just going to be more grounded and stick with what I know and improve that and make it better and make SADATA this mastermind technical wrestler killer kick your ass, that
No,
type
I'm
of guy.
really glad you asked that, because I was really grappling with that question the entire time during the pandemic. Actually, I started slowing down when I turned heel in 2018, I believe. I started slowing down my style because I didn't want the crowd to cheer me at all. So I wanted to bore them. I wanted them to cheer the good guys or the faces for being able to be more athletic and captivating. I wanted to put over the baby faces in whatever they do. So I
Mm-hmm.
was really slowing down and becoming more smash mouth, if you will.
Right.
And during the pandemic, I had way more time to watch back some of the old stuff, and I realized that I was just not that good, man.
Mm.
People might have liked it because they thought it was cool. People might have thought that okay, there was a cool thing to have a Pinoy Filipino mass wrestler who tried to be a luchador, but I just wasn't good, and I
Mm.
finally realized that that's not what I meant to do. And
Okay.
I'm kind of sad actually that I spent like 5 years or yeah 5 years of trying to do that when I could have just or 4 years of trying to do that when I could have just been keeping to the basics, sticking to the basics, doing what you like to do, your hard style. Shout out to your hard
Mm.
style, and
Right. No doubt.
making people cringe with all the hard hits and stuff like that. Which I realized was something I liked watching from
Right.
places like Japan. Um, I really wanted to. When if we ever get back to wrestling, I wanted to do over and really reestablish or learn a new style and um, just stick to what I could do and not try to push too much of what I couldn't do. And I'm just glad that I realized what I couldn't do
Mm.
eventually.
That is an awesome statement, man, that you just made. Uh, and I see the maturity, not just in you and what you just said, but since this pandemic, I think this pandemic. First, I want to give a shout out, big Coach Fabs. What's up,
Hey,
Coach? Uh, uh, I think this pandemic really, or it should have, really sat some people down and look at themselves, look at their style of wrestling, go back and look at the tapes, whatever, if they haven't, and see where they progressed or see where they didn't. You know what I mean? And for you, it's like me looking at you right now, listening to you. It's like you just grew up, man. It's like, oh shit, he just from the time he's probably started to now, he realized, okay, it's not that you're not that good. It's just that you see you could do better in certain areas. We all have
yes.
that, and that's what it's all about. When you're studying, when I tell students to study, I'm not telling you to study to take someone else's move. I'm telling you to look and see the things that you're doing that you could do better. I had to do the same thing, and I still do. You know what I mean? When we were wrestling, we would go back and watch the VHS tapes of our matches,
Tapes.
and
Tapes.
so yeah, and so that's how you get better. But the thing is also, uh, you don't have to go out and do every single move, right? You can you can have maybe five, 3 or 4 moves. Long as you do those moves and the timing is right
Right.
and the intensity is right, bro, that's a match right there. You have to tell the story. It's not about you going in there doing 18,000 moves and then the people walk away and be like, that looks so fake. That looks so, if I give you one good shot to the face, it should count. And the people in the crowd should be like, if they don't remember nothing else, damn, Sadata hit Blackzilla. Oh my God. Daddy, did you see that? That's all that matters, you know what I mean? But I think we get lost in the moves and we get lost in the time, and things like that. And what I just heard from you, man, that's I hope the rest of the crew in the Philippine wrestling scene um, take note and take notice that you don't have to. You need to really watch yourself and watch what you're doing. You know what I mean, and go back and study the things that you could have done and should have done, and then now, once if we get back into it, what are you going to do different? That should be your thing. What am I going to do different as a pro wrestler going back into 2022 or 2023? You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's good shit. I like that you said that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not really here to preach because I was really just, being introspective and reflecting on myself because
Hmm.
that's all I really have to do. It's all I really could do here on during the pandemic,
Yeah.
And back then, man, I thought I was the shit because I was able to do some stuff that people couldn't, normal people couldn't do. But I
Right.
wish somebody really sat me down and told me that this stuff really isn't working out even though the crowd is reacting to it and responding to it
Mhm.
favorably. I really wish I was told. Some people told me, but I didn't really recognize or put too much stock in their opinions. But I wish somebody who could have really told me off, really sat me down and said, in a good way, in a nice way, that you need
Right.
to
Right. Of
find
course.
something else to do because you may have something, but I don't think it's here in this particular specialty, in this particular style, And
Mm,
I I really have huge regrets of not figuring
really.
that out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess
Mm.
you could say that I tend to look back a lot and regret a lot of things that I do. I kind of wish that I knew better a long, long time ago. But again, you can't change the past. It is what it is.
No.
You can
No.
only
Yeah.
learn from the past,
Exactly.
and that's kind of the reason why I kind of found my passion for wrestling again, because I kind of lost it last year when everything came to a stop and drama happened. But now I want to do over, and I want to relearn and
Do it the right way.
do
Yes.
it the right or do it the right way for me, because it
Right.
could
There you
be
go.
the right way could be different for someone else, and that's
There you
totally
go.
fine.
Yes.
I just want to figure out a new style, be known for something else. I also wanted to ditch the Sandata thing, but you mentioned earlier that new Sandata and all that. My plans really before the pandemic were to drop the mask, drop the name, the ring name, and just go by Romeo. And
Hmm.
the way other people or some wrestlers
Mm.
go by their first or last name. I just really wanted to reinvent myself like that, and the opportunity of being able to do that kind of excites me for whenever we return to wrestling here in the Philippines.
Nice. See, so you already said it. You already put it out there. So if everyone listening, Romeo is here. Romeo, Romeo. You know what I mean? So
Thanks,
I
man.
mean, you can, yeah, definitely, man. And that's the thing with me. I remember I did a interview with you and Stancy uh, when I first came here to the
Yes, yes.
Philippines, and I told you guys, I said, man, wrestling at one time put a bad taste in my mouth. I really got it just really got bad for me, and I think that happens with everyone. The longer you do this thing, to do the sport, you know what I mean. It's going to be like that, or any other sport, and you will have that time where you sit back and you reflect. But my advice to you is don't reflect too much on the bad things because you're still good, bro. You're still good. You know what I mean? I see you done jacked up a little bit. You know what I mean? So don't sit back and reflect and say, okay, well, I regret this. You should embrace it. Seriously, embrace that shit
I
because
wish I could do that.
you
I really
will. You
wish I
will.
could.
You will because
I
as you
can't
get
stop my
older,
brain.
as you get older, you know what I mean. You're gonna sit back and say, I did this, I did that. You know what I mean? I'm a legend here, a legend there, whatever. Even the bad things. There's some bad things I did when I was wrestling, and I had to sit back and I was like, oh no, I should have done that. But everything that you do in the square circle, even out, but pretty much in the square circle, I mean, you learn from it, and so you're gonna be able to help someone later on in life. You know what I mean? And so don't look at it as a bad thing. Just look at it as a learning
Yeah,
experience. You know what I mean? It's just like writing. You're a writer.
yeah.
So if someone comes to you and they're not good at spelling or putting their words together, you know what to say. Hey, you should. And then if I'm a writer, I say, oh shit, man, I shouldn't have wrote it that way. I regret writing this page. Whatever. You can sit back and say, no, 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 no. Let me help you out here. So it's the same thing. I'm telling you, don't regret it. Just look back on it and moving forward. I'm telling you, this pandemic is a blessing in disguise. And so there's a lot of things that went down during this pandemic, and the future, man. I'm telling you, the future of pro wrestling here in the Philippines, I believe, is going to elevate even more because there's a whole brand of people that just went this way. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So, so who's to say you guys don't start your own shit or someone start another shit? You know what I mean? And there's room for it. So my question to you, with that, was saying that, do you think there's room for another promotion? Uh, do you think there will be another promotion in the Philippines?
There is room, yes, obviously, because there are a lot of people who have been trained by yourself, by other people, other wrestlers. They have experience now, and they can be part of a foundation for a new promotion. Whether or not that will happen is still up in the air, because I think we have to go through a lot here in the Philippines before we get to that point. So I can't say for sure whether we will see a new promotion at all. It's going to take so much work and so much resources that I'm not sure we have just yet. Uh, what was the other part of the question?
Do you have aspirations of starting one
Oh,
yourself?
uh,
I
if
mean, because you're big.
anything,
The reason why I say this, role, because you're big. You're a big. You're a big force when it comes to this wrestling. You cannot mention PWR or Philippine wrestling without mentioning your name, Stan's name, a couple other people's names. Different other companies. So I'm just putting it out there. You know what I mean? Would you, or are you considering? Is that in your future? Um, that pen is very powerful. When you're a good writer, it's just more powerful than a sword or a gun. So it only
uh,
takes.
I personally don't want the hassles of running a new promotion. If anything, I just want to help teach people who want to learn how to wrestle, or people who want to be wrestlers, what I know, what I accumulated over the past 6 years, because I want to help others achieve their dreams. I want to help them get a start in what I hope is the right direction. I want that more than I want a new promotion, because right now here in Manila, there are three promotions, if I'm not mistaken, and I think
Yes, yes,
three
yes.
is a lot right now for one city.
Okay.
Other cities here in the Philippines definitely deserve their own wrestling, because we have wrestling fans all over the country.
Mhm.
If we can start something there, that would be great. But I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to move there. Um,
Right.
I would rather just help train people. It's
Mhm.
really my thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good answer. I want to big shout out to Katrina.
Hey,
She's watching also. That's my homegirl. But yeah. So you know someone else said the same thing. I want to say Frankie 13 said the same thing. I'm not sure, but he said he would like to see another promotion in another province. You
yes, that
know,
would be great. That would be great.
and so go ahead.
No, no, I just agree with that, because we should tap a different market, because the other wrestling fans from other provinces, other regions in the Philippines, they are kind of underserved right now. Like they would comment on the content of the wrestling companies here in Manila, and they would say,
Mm,
they would ask when wrestling would come to them, and I think there is something
okay.
there to be had for sure.
Okay. And now, you said you would help. What would you do different that you didn't do 6 years ago, 4 years ago? What would be different in giving your advice to young wrestlers um, coming up now? You know.
Okay, okay. That's a really good question. Before that, I want to shout out
Yeah.
Fabs Makisig, Fabio Makisig in the comments. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
I also
Oh,
love reading your blogs. Really
yeah. You got to give it to
surprising
show.
side that I
Hell
didn't know was
yeah.
there. So really good stuff. Keep it up, man.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, going back to your question, um, as you say, as a lot of veterans would say, I really want to drill the basics of how to wrestle, like really how to wrestle, what we do in the ring, how to make it look good, how to make it look hard
Mm,
hitting, if you will, make
mm,
it look based on the amateur wrestling or technical wrestling, catch wrestling foundations. That would be the first thing I would drill. The looks could come second because
mhm,
nowadays you do want to look like a wrestler, but people do come in different shapes and sizes. Then what
mhm.
matters to me more is you can go in the ring and you can not get gassed out too easily.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
Right,
I think you
right.
can do that. You can achieve that kind of endurance without having to look like a fitness model or a bodybuilder, if you will.
Hmm. Right,
Basically work
right.
on that stuff, work on the wrestling. I like what Grapple Max in Singapore does. They really focus on
Yes.
the wrestling. They teach you how to do the technical stuff, the chain wrestling stuff. They get you fit for the ring, and before you
Hmm.
go out there and claim your very first wrestling persona, they make sure that you have a solid foundation as a student.
Hmm.
So if I were ever to
Right.
start a training facility here, I would focus and I would do what they would do.
Hmm. Yes, that's good. Good answer. You know what I mean? Like I would tell my students when I was training them, or anybody, basic. You have to have the basic. It's just like anything else. Writing, walking. You cannot run until you learn how to take one step at a time. Just walk. So it's the same thing with pro wrestling, and that's the only thing that's going to keep you going. It's the basic because and people say, "Oh, that's boring." Yeah, it is, but you got international stars, international people coming here that may come here. You know what I mean to the Philippines. What if you're in the ring with some of those guys? Or some of those ladies. And you don't know a headlock from a fucking wrist lock. I mean, that's going. You don't know how to transition into a headlock, or you in a top wrist lock. You don't know how to reverse that. It's gonna be shit. So yeah, you need to. I think everyone needs to learn the basic. That's just in anything. Basketball. You gotta learn how to dribble the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
you need to know the fundamentals. My question also, the people here in the Philippines, when you say anything about pro wrestling, and some people give you the reaction of, "Oh, that's fake," whatever, whatever. Um, how do you as a Filipino wrestler take that? I mean, how do you feel if someone says, "Oh, what else do you do? Are you a wrestler? Whatever, whatever." Like, isn't that fake? Or because I hear that question a lot. You know what I mean?
um Luckily, fortunately, nobody's ever come up to me and called it fake to my face. I would hope it's because they take one look at me and look at, and
Right.
see that see how I'm built. They wouldn't dare call it fake to my face.
Oh.
But if ever anyone did try to do that, I would just probably tell them about how my body used to ache because of wrestling, because it's
Right.
true. The body does, we do take pain, and we just don't feel it right now because we haven't wrestled in forever.
Mhm.
But I would just really tell them about how we would hurt. Some people would get injured. And sure, I can kind of take the fact that it is not all the way real
Mhm.
because we are working together in there to give a performance,
Exactly. Yep.
but it's there. My body, the pain that I feel is not fake.
Right.
It's
Hell
right
no.
there.
Exactly. Let me give you a chop. Let me give you a hit to the
Yes,
back.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly, right.
mean? That's the thing. People say, "Oh, isn't that fake?" And I have to look at them and be like, "Yeah, let me get you in the ring. I can hurt you. I can make you feel the pain without even touching you. You know what I mean? Take some bumps for you to find out." But I do kind of I kind of hear that sometimes or see that, and I see that some of the people here in the Philippines, they don't like their kids to be in pro wrestling because they think it's a waste of time or something like that. And so I was just trying to get to understand from a Filipino how does that feel being a wrestler, and then you have a totally different job on the outside. You know what I mean? And like you said earlier, you're kind of like, I don't want to tell people what I'm doing. that kind of shit. So I was like, how do you deal with that? You know what I mean? How do you juggle that?
Um,
So.
I knew I accepted early on. Like I
Mhm,
had no aspirations of wrestling being something that put food on my table. It just
mhm.
wasn't set up that way here in the Philippines. And
Right,
if I ever
exactly.
wanted to go to WWE, it's gonna take forever, and I might not even do that. I might not even get there. So I
Mhm.
accepted early on that I had to do a day job just to keep myself afloat. And I also kind of wanted to stay safe in the ring because I didn't want to injure myself and compromise myself to the point that I couldn't do other work, and I would have to spend a lot of money to get better. And it's a good thing that when my coworkers found out, they were totally cool with it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they were pretty amazed to know what I do.
Mhm.
So it's not really that much of a juggling act anymore, I think.
Mhm.
It is what it is now. People know me as the wrestler in the office.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
The wrestler writer.
Yeah. So it's great. It's great. It's really great.
Okay. Now I want to ask you about Smart Henry. Are you in charge of Smart Henry? Is that
Yes. Yeah.
okay? So that how did that come about?
Um, Before I became a wrestler, I was really a wrestling writer. I wrote about wrestling for other websites in the internet. So I would write about my opinions of the current product and um, saying hey to Rex, who is here
What
in the
up, Big
comments.
Rex?
Rex, my good friend, and also Mayor Yanks.
Rolando.
Mayor
Yes.
Yanks is over here.
Racity.
Yeah.
Racity out there playing us none. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was writing about wrestling, and I wanted my main job, or my main hobby before being a wrestler, was really to give opinions and analyze the wrestling product,
Mhm.
but the WWE mostly,
Okay.
and there were a few other people who were like-minded who also wanted to write about wrestling, so we got them all together and we started this website, this blog, really to talk
Mhm.
about wrestling, both international and local. That's pretty much how it started.
Right.
I was made in charge, or I don't know if I took charge, because
Mhm.
I had the most experience writing about wrestling, and I was a journalism graduate.
Okay.
So we eventually grew it to cover WWE, AEW,
Mm.
NJPW, local wrestling. It's now a brand of its own.
Are you
Yeah,
in
we
charge
still
of it still now? Are you still in charge of
yeah,
Smart Henry
I'm
now?
kind of
Okay.
overseeing it, but I'm not as anal about it, if you will. I'm mostly just letting uh my friends, my colleagues, my fellow writers do their thing. And it's now become a ship that is kind of running on its own, which is
Really?
something I'm glad to say. People love to write about wrestling. People, I don't know, we did it to showcase or to give the Filipino fan a voice on the internet,
Hmm.
and people love to do it. That's why it's still here, even though I have to admit we don't pay them, we don't pay, or we hardly pay anyone. We give out occasional cash payments when
Hmm.
things are going good, but we don't give them a regular salary. It's really just for the love and for the passion of wrestling. So I'm glad that
Mm.
there's still a group like this who are willing to discuss the sport they love on the internet.
Mm. Okay. Cool. And now, so you are your other company that you write for. You don't write about wrestling
No,
or
no,
anything like
no.
that.
No.
Okay.
We write for big brands, for big companies in the Philippines. I'm not gonna name
Okay.
them now,
No, no, no,
but
no, no.
it's all business,
Mm.
corporate business, if you will.
Okay. Okay. So you're a corporate guy.
Yep, I would have to
Oh
say I am.
shit! Awesome. Gotta wear the suit and tie. Well, you guys don't
Not,
wear that here in the
not
Philippines.
really, not really.
Damn, that's awesome, man. So, so going back into the wrestling and PWR and all that, and I know you guys broke away from that. Some of you guys broke away from that. But do you still communicate with some of the people there?
Yeah, some of them
Um,
for sure.
you guys still talk and everything.
I still kind of talk to some people who are still with the company, but
Mhm.
for us who left the company, we're still in constant touch with each other. You know, just
Mhm.
supporting each other
Nice.
through tough times, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think like I said, this pandemic, man. A lot of people look at it as a curse or it's not going well, but I look at it as it's a healing thing. It's a blessing in disguise, kind of, because no one's wrestling now, but uh, it's like people can kind of forge come together a little bit, and iron out these differences or whatever. So hopefully, when wrestling starts back up, maybe and hopefully people, all the companies can work together that's in Manila. You know what I mean? Not just have this animosity like they still like they had or whatever. It would be really great to see all you guys working together. You know what I mean? To build the pro wrestling here in the Philippines up. Speaking of going international, you have any aspiration of wrestling again overseas?
Yes, absolutely, man.
Who'd you work for before? Where
Okay.
did you go before?
Before in 2018, I wrestled for Middle Kingdom Wrestling in China. They got
Nice.
me for their Belt and Road Championship tournament.
Wow.
Really nice opportunity. I never really figured or expected that they would get me, but they needed someone to put someone else over, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
That's still experience, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Hell yeah.
I also was able to go to Singapore to wrestle for Grapple Max in their very first show with a real wrestling ring. So
Hmm.
that's fun. On that one, I went to Singapore on my own dime. I called them up and asked if I go there, would you be able to book me on a show?
Hmm.
So they had a spot for me, and that's what happened. So
Okay.
um, looking to do more of that. I really wanted to go abroad, mostly to train with other companies. I
Okay.
wanted to soak up as much as I could with other guys. I wanted to see what other guys could teach me.
Hmm.
Uh, Definitely now was I with the reinvention that I mentioned earlier today. I want to see how I can improve on a new style
Hmm.
through the help of other people abroad. So yeah,
Okay.
when we are able to travel again, I will definitely do that.
What style are you looking for per se? Are you trying to make up your own style, or are you
No, no,
trying to
no.
emulate someone else's style?
Really, I don't know if I'm gonna get flack for this, but I really
No, go
wanted to
ahead.
do a more Japanese style. I wanted to hit hard, man. Like remember when you were training us
Right.
in the MWF
NWF.
training
Yes.
facility? You
Yes.
were telling us to go hard, hit hard. I
Yes.
like that
Yes.
stuff. I love that
Yes.
stuff.
Because
Um,
the reason why I'm sorry to cut you off. The reason why I say that is because when you're on the indies, you're not on television. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Unless your company has a television spot or whatever in your city or whatever. So when people come to see you, uh, most of the time it's probably their first time, except for the diehard fans that come monthly. And if a person spends 300, 400, whatever, and they sit like second row, first row, and then you guys powder out of your match, you better damn sure you better slap something in there so that they can go back home and say, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Because if we're that close to the action, and we're watching and someone doesn't hit someone, that just proves the point. See, I told you that's not real. I told you, So we were
Yeah,
always
no,
taught.
no, for sure, for sure.
We were
Um,
always taught you got to hit, make the connection. Better to make a connection, tater somebody than to miss a mile away. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, by the way. I'm not
No,
really
no, no,
saying
no, no,
because
no, no.
because I really do. I've been watching a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
over the past year and a half, and this is really what I want to do. I don't know if he's still watching and listening to the stream, but I want to wrestle like Rex Lawin.
Yeah.
That
See,
guy.
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to bulk up like he is, and I want to wrestle just no, for real, for real.
Nice.
I'm getting a lot of mass in the midsection right now, and I'm trying to bulk up like he is. Ditching the old small guy luchador build and style.
Exactly.
Gonna be a hard motherfucker like Rex
Yeah.
Owen.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is the goal.
That's
And
it.
then when I get there, I want to wrestle him again, and we can have ourselves a proper hoss fight.
Even Fast, I told Fast when I first saw him at MCS, I said, damn, dude. I said, either you were mad at this guy or something because the way you were hitting him was like, yo, that's a shoot. For me, it's like that's a shoot. The way he was hitting the guy. But I told Fabs, I said, Anorex. When I first saw them too, I said, now that's how you do strikes. You see what I'm saying? They can work on the other stuff. They can work on the basics. I said, but when you doing the strikes, you gotta lay it in. That back, that chest, you gotta
Yep.
lay it in.
That is a safe zone, as you told us.
Exactly. You have to be careful on the legs and the kicking. A lot of guys they don't know how to kick to the legs. You got to be really careful. I stay away from that, from the joints, the knees, and stuff
Yes,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the chest and the back, that's open season, brother. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And so it's like you really got to lay that stuff in. And if a guy or girl can't take it, they shouldn't be in pro wrestling. It shouldn't be. And so that's why I'm asking what type of style you really wanted to get into. My mass style, like I said, I wanted to be like Mass Superstar. He's the American mass wrestler is grounded.
Yeah, that's true. That is
There
true.
ain't no high flying,
Yeah.
super destroying. All we don't do all that. We wrestle. They wrestle guys like Neil Maskers and all that, but most of those guys are like, when you go back and you look at the Mass Superstar and how he wrestled, that brother, man, I mean, he could lay it in there. You know what I mean? And so that's what made Demolition so great.
Is
He
that is
was
that really his name? The Mass Superstar?
no, his name is Bill Eadie.
Bill Eat. Okay, but
Yes,
his ring name was Mass Superstar. Is that
yes,
correct? Okay, I'm gonna
yes.
look. I'm gonna
Mass
look for.
Superstar.
I'm gonna look for his tapes.
Oh yeah, look at Mass Superstar. Look him up. You know what I mean? And so, uh, I mean, he was just a hard hitting guy. Plus, he knew how to wrestle, shoot wrestle also. So that was my thing. I really wanted to do that once. I said I really want to get it. And when the pandemic is over, if I'm feeling okay, if my body is okay, I still might try to get in there a little bit, do something, and you know, work out the kinks or some shit like that. But it's hard on the body, man. At
It
51
is. It
years old,
is.
man, it's hard.
It is.
I'll be 52 when if it ever comes back. And so I'm like, man, I really hope that we could do something here in the Philippines because everybody's itching for it. You know what I mean? We're gonna get out of here soon? But what are some of the things that you've been doing to stay in shape?
I'll be honest with you. The gyms closed a couple of months ago, and I just did not. I just stopped for real.
Mm,
Because
mm,
I could not take. I could not accept working out here at home. There's no space. I got no equipment, or I do have some equipment. People are gonna trash me for this for not being in shape right now. But honestly, I'm just waiting for the gyms to open again.
right.
What I've been doing before the gym closed was I started lifting heavier,
Mhm.
way heavier than I used to lift before. I was
Okay.
trying to push my 1 rep maxes, my 2 rep maxes. I wanted to build my strength and by way of that build my
Hmm.
mass. So I couldn't do that at home. It's just not happening for me at home. So I'm just living it up right now. And
Right.
because I know for a fact that when I get back in the gym, I'm turned up. I am
Yes.
that's gonna be easy for me as long as I am able to go back to the gym consistently.
Hmm.
That's not gonna be a problem for me at all.
Okay.
But for other people though, if you do want to, get in shape, stay in shape, you can still do cardio for sure.
Exactly.
If you want to keep your muscle mass, um, you can just still do your body weight exercises.
Hmm.
I'm keeping my muscle mass by way of eating, so
Okay.
I'm still pretty I'm still pretty sizable here,
Right.
but I'm not in the best shape. But I try to do what I can. I just really wish the gyms would open soon.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Good advice. You know what I mean? Like I tell them, do some push-ups, sit-ups, squats. You can never go wrong with those three:
Yep,
push-ups, sit-ups, squats. You
absolutely.
know what I mean? So if you put in about 4 or 5 sets of those, 20 reps, hey, that's a workout a day. You know what I mean? And that'll get you through for at least a couple of months. Or whatever, a lifetime. It could. It just depends on what your mindset is and how you want to do it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I want to thank you, Ro, for coming on, man. Let everyone know where can they find you, where can they see you at, man.
All right. Thank you, man, for having me on. It was a really great
Yes,
conversation. You never
awesome.
disappoint, my friend. Never disappoint.
Thank
Uh,
you.
All right, you can catch me on Twitter. That's where I get my wrestling takes at Rose War. Instagram, my wrestling Instagram is at Shang underscore Daddy, SHANG underscore DADDY. Um, Facebook, I got rid of my wrestling Facebook page. Listen to us on the Wrestling podcast.
Oh yeah, okay.
Uh, Follow us on Spotify, the Wrestling Podcast, Wrestlings-Wrestling Podcast. Follow
Mm-hmm.
us on Twitter at Wrestling2XPod as well as on TikTok. We give a lot of takes there about our recent wrestling. Instagram at the Wrestling Podcast. So really there, if you want to talk wrestling with me, that's where you can do that. And I will almost always respond to you if the open is good. Yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty much it. Yeah,
You
follow me
busy,
there.
brother. You busy.
Yeah, that's what we're keeping busy with, really.
Shit.
If I don't do that, if I don't do any of that stuff, if I don't watch wrestling and talk about wrestling, I'm gonna go out of my mind here.
Really?
Yeah, 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 for real, for
Wow.
real.
If I don't have Netflix, I'm going out of my mind.
Yes, you know what it is.
Kevin said home workouts are helpful indeed, even though they can really replace the gym. Stay
Yes,
healthy, said Dada. So
thank
yeah,
you.
they are, man. And Fab said great interview. Archie, good evening to Coach and Sadada. So yeah, a couple of people, man. They've been watching and everything, checking us out and everything, all that good stuff. But yeah, stay busy. That's all I can say, Ro, man, and tell Stan and what's the other guy, Chino?
Chino,
What's his name?
yes,
Yes,
Chino.
tell Mr. Chino I said hello, man.
All
You guys
right,
do a
no
good job
problem,
over
man.
there, and hope to see you down the road, man, very soon. You know,
Thank you, man. You too, man. Miss you so much.
definitely. Hell yeah, I miss you guys, man. I miss you and Stan and all you guys over there,
Yeah.
man. I haven't been to Manila almost a year now, so uh,
But it's much better there in Angeles anyway.
yeah, it is. And hopefully I can get something going here. If the gyms allow it. But
If you
right
open a
now,
school there, though, I would move.
yes, I'm trying to. I'm talking to some people. Where actually, seriously, I was talking to a guy the other day. Uh, he wanted me to come into his gym, but his gym he had just modified his gym, and I wasn't there. I was living in Pangasinan. He found out. I came back. He said, "Oh, it's too small. His ring was way too small." And I told him, I said, "Well, we can do the Bret Hart, Stu
Yes,
Hart,
dungeon
you
on the
dungeon
mats.
shit." So I'm still talking to some people, and hopefully I can get something going, man. Because I really want to. There's some people here in Angeles that really want to get down. I just don't.
Yeah,
I got
bring
to
it to the
reach out to
north.
them,
You know what it
or
is.
yeah, exactly. Like you said, and there's a lot of other provinces that really want wrestling, pro wrestling. So that's a good thing. But thank you very much, Ro, man, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, man. Love you, brother.
Thank you,
You be
man. Love you
safe
too.
and you take care. Thank you, everyone, for looking, listening, and
Thanks,
watching.
guys. Thank
All
you.
right, take care. Thank you.
Peace. All right.